Okay.
Well,
Has yours turned on your computer?
yeah, I'm good. It's on my computer.
It is now 4 o'clock in the afternoon, March 18th. And we have a meeting right now, so let's have an approval. I'll take a motion to approve the board minutes for March the 4th.
I'll make a motion to approve the board minutes for March the 4th.
Second motion.
Okay. All those in favor? Raise your hand. Good job. Okay, gotta catch up with myself here. Motion, second, and vote. Unanimous. Approve the payment of claims in accordance with the Indiana State Board of Accounts.
Make a motion to approve payment of claims.
Second it.
Thank you. Any discussions on these claims? Okay, let's take a vote. And it's unanimous. The next regular meeting will be held on Wednesday, April the 1st, 2026 at 4 p.m. in this very place. Okay. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? Do we have any public? Okay. Old business. New business. Do we have any old business anybody wants to talk about? Okay. Well, that's not true. The board want to talk about? I need to watch that. Okay. Number 6, new business. Amend the agenda. Replace the attachment 6B with 2006 water utility revenue bond and add attachment 6C 2006 sewage works revenue bond.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Amend the agenda. Okay. Yep. Would you like to vote now?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Need a motion to approve the 2026 water utility revenue bonds. That'd be 6B.
Hold on,
already did that.
yeah,
We
we're on
did that?
6A.
On the 6A, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So you guys have already voted on it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was doing
We're
it.
done with it.
Well, we voted on amending the agenda, and now we have to go through the agenda items.
Shut up.
So
So yeah, now we just.
we're ready to go through A, B, C, and D now. So
Can you put him over here and him over there? Okay. Approve 2006 sewage works revenue bonds.
our average meeting time goes down by
That's
12 minutes.
That's his fault.
It is.
Consideration of the guaranteed savings contract with Bowen Construction. And we do have a gentleman here representing Bowen Construction, and his name is Paul Creasy.
Well, I will make a motion to consider the guaranteed savings contract with Bowen Construction, attachment 6A.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. We're gonna have a vote to consider it.
Oh, conversation
For
first.
conversation?
Conversation.
Discussion,
Yes,
I'm
speaker.
sorry. I think I will stay home.
So this is, in front of you is the guaranteed savings contract from Bowen for the construction of, for the,
You see.
construction of the long-term control plan project, the storage portion of it. We've had so many discussions about this, and we brought in Paul to really answer any questions about the nuts and bolts of the project, how the contract reads, and we'll have Teddy in next week, or next meeting.
Who's Teddy?
Teddy Deal, he's also from Bowen, he's more of the contract guy for any like more specific questions on the contract. They kind of provided us, this is something a little simpler than what everybody's seen in the past from the engineering drawings. It's kind of a really high level, one line of where everything's at. Let's see. Let me try to move this up. And obviously the interceptor is the green, the blue, or the light green, and the dark green. The blue is the overflow storage treatment system, so that's that serpentine. And then the red is that CSO 11 that's on the south side, kind of that storage system. I would say that's the one that's not completely nailed down, because we want to make that one cost effective at the end. So, do you guys have any questions, nut and bolt wise? Start time, finish time. If we accept them as our contractor, how much they've been involved. I mean, he's been here from the beginning, been involved with this project from the beginning. Don't take my word for it. From all the work that's been done, he can describe the process. Just, I mean, whatever you think you need to ask, shoot it to him.
Start time.
Certainly based on notice to proceed, loan closing. In an ideal world, towards the tail end of this year would be our mobilization date, as long as everything plays out from a procurement aspect. And from the mobilization date, it's an approximate 36-month duration for the entirety of the project. Now, that entirety covers everything you see on this figure. There will be phased approach, even though we have a phase 1, phase 2 on this storage component that was submitted to IDEM. Could you go back to the other one?
Yeah,
actually?
sorry.
Even though we have a phased approach that was submitted to IDEM, every one of the CSOs that's shown on this is inclusive of the contract that we've submitted for consideration. So the north side CSOs are going to be tied into the new north side interceptor and decommissioned. The logistics behind that starts with this overflow storage treatment where both components flow to. So every piece of flow on the north side will come down the new interceptor that turns south on Miami into this property right along Canal Street. So that blue square, it's a little bit deceiving, that's about 1.5 million gallons worth of storage. The remainder of the interceptor is the other 4. So our construction sequencing is very linear in nature. I know a lot of the concern was, oh man, are we gonna have every road torn up at the exact same time? That's not the case. Nor can we do it to be able to manage the flow as we decommission existing parts of the CSOs. So our first mobilization would be for this overflow treatment area. And once we have an established outfall point, that's when we can start our interceptor. And I split it in east and west because that's just the easiest to digest. And it illustrates our more linear approach, where the east section naturally would go first because that is the bulk of our large bore storage. And it would roll it all the way out to the very east where CSO 16 is located. Once that section's complete, the darker green phase would begin. And that's where it runs from the intersection of Miami and 2nd and terminates there at, I believe it's Chestnut and Canal near CSO 2. So as those areas are brought into the new interceptor and we have structures that can transition the flow from old to new into the new storage facility, we can decommission and turn off those CSOs and start that monitoring process. So these phased approaches can be laid out as the construction progresses. It's not just all interceptor, now we start a monitoring period. So I know that was a big question as to the logistics behind this. That's 36-month period is for the entire account. So I know that was a lot of information in a short period of time, but when people hear 36 months, they usually get a little concerned. It's like, oh, we're not going to have any of this system offline until that happens. That's certainly not the case, and we're going to work hand in hand with Peru Utilities and IDEM to make sure that that's transparent and the monitoring process starts as soon as possible.
And I think the reason we talk about the 36-month, that's outside of our date, right? Outside of our compliance date, as far as the post-construction monitoring. But because now we have that schedule where things have been pushed out for what is that, 2, 3, 4, 16, and 11? Am I missing one? So that's the outside of the project. So now they can concentrate on that inner portion, the 4 million gallons, most of the 4 million gallons. Well, it'd be more than that with the 1.5 million tank in the middle. And they can focus on that, get that done, and we can be monitoring once that's complete, because we'll still be processing that portion of the wastewater, because they have to make sure it's working when they put it in, or we don't have any drainage or any wastewater flow, right, from those areas. So the 36 months, originally when I saw that, I was like, well, that's not going to work. And then I talked to Teddy, and he said, no, this is everything he just explained. So I'm confident in that timeline. And again, now we have that buffer time at the end for those CSOs and CSO 11.
The extra 2 years. Is that what you're talking about?
Correct. 2 years, 8 months, or whatever it was. I can't remember. So, any questions there?
So the first phase would be the overflow storage system there, starting at Miami in that canal property. Then do you work out from there and start to work towards shutting off 6 and 8, or do you only work west for 6, 4?
We would work east first,
Okay.
and it really gets to a point where we can have this established with the outfall and a perimeter secured, because we're gonna have to sheet a large portion of this for our underground construction. And we wanna have that secured before we actually start an open cut crew that goes north on Miami and then east on 2nd Street. But we have control when the flow diversion actually transfers from CSO 12 to the new interceptor through diversion structures that are planned out in the design from the old existing infrastructure to the new interceptor.
When you cut that off and divert flow, do you go past 12 and cut it off so everything feeds towards the new system? Say if you had finished 12, do you go then past near to 14 to shut down?
The flow would go from the intersection tie-in at Huntington and 2nd, 412, where this pipe comes down Huntington and then discharges. We'd intercept here, and the flow would then transfer here into the new.
So it
overflow.
just closes all that off immediately.
Not permanently.
There will be a monitoring
Still-
period where you still have
Yeah.
potential.
In dry weather, the flow is still going to continue on down to Canal Street to be treated at the wastewater plant like it currently is. We have an interceptor running down Canal.
Okay.
This green pipe is only for, oh, it's raining, now there's more water. The pipes are filling up, it overflows into this.
Yes.
So this,
So this is only when there's overflow.
correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, so it's not a full diversion, it's only overflow.
But whilst all of that's going on, they have to divert it,
Right.
because they have to, first of all, make sure it works, but,
Correct.
they have to close certain areas off, and so we're gonna need that.
Do you know when you start to go east, do you know about how many blocks they're gonna try and handle at a time? Or, obviously, they're not just gonna do the whole road at once, but do you know like about how that's gonna average out, or?
Yeah, they had a lofty closure in the current design plans, but again, we'll do that for a road closure submission in a permitting process. This isn't gonna be a heavy production driven job because it's very deep, and the main line interceptor is a 10-foot diameter interceptor. So the production isn't gonna take up 5, 6, 7 blocks at a time. It's probably a 3 to 4 block duration, and then we hopscotch to the next one as we try to open up the previous one.
It will be a mess.
Because you're gonna go from interceptor to from CSO to CSO, so it looks like those are all about 2 blocks or so in between, right? So,
Yeah, and a lot of the interceptor capture is at those intersections where the interceptor crosses the existing infrastructure. So there will be more work once we reach, to your point, the CSO 12 intersection, because we're gonna have additional diversion structures on top of the new storage interceptor that needs to be installed.
Because in dry weather, we still, right here is the current interceptor.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to Cass Street, and we pump it to the, to the wastewater plant. We have no problem treating the dry weather flow.
And as Josh already mentioned, the CSO 11 storage component is a standalone, and because of the phased plan, it would be one of the last portions of work that we we accomplish. We want to focus on the bulk, critical MOT impact work to try to get everyone out of everyone's hairs as quick as possible.
CSO 11. So the overflow storage system there on Canal Street is that snaked HDP pipe, correct? At that vacant, or what will soon be vacant property.
That's correct.
What's the current plan look like as far as the CSO 11 storage system? Is that a tank or another serpentine pipe?
It's a pipe system, but it's not serpentine. So
Okay.
they're two leg stretches of 120-inch diameter pipe.
Okay.
So those two legs that are on
Okay.
either side of Wabash are kind of interpreted where there's a smaller diameter across that goes to a pump station. So once flow is nominalized, then the pump station can kick on. And
How many gallons is that estimated at with the current design?
200K, I wanted to say.
We
But
ju-
again,
We
a
just
big,
started the
big
line.
reason behind holding off on that portion of work is it may be over designed.
200,000 or 28,000?
Because of the lining project that we did, that we're doing
Oh,
right now. As a matter of fact,
Lining, yeah, relining.
so that
side.
lining's happening, I can get my bearing, down Riverside
Yeah.
here right now.
They're
Okay.
jetting it, and when you drive down there, there's stoplights now. It's fun.
Yeah.
At the,
Not towards the wastewater plant.
They're jetting, but they haven't lined yet.
Correct.
No, they gotta clean it and then probably take a whole bunch of roots and stuff out of it, cut them out, and then they'll line it.
And just, I should probably be more knowledgeable about this, but the overflow storage treatment system there on Canal Street, when that separates out the heavy rain flow with any solids that would potentially be in the system, how's that? I know the one overflows. How is the fluid that needs treated piped back across to the wastewater plant? From there?
So, go ahead, Jamie.
There's a small lift station on that site as well that's going to pump that to castrate once the flow has.
So we're using existing pipe at
Yes.
Cass Street to get it across.
Okay.
Because part of the original design was to put another line in. And I can't remember, what was that, 10 million or 11 million dollars
least.
to put a line?
So that,
Yeah.
that lift station's gonna empty not only that serpentine tank, but the whole 4 million gallons on Second Street.
Is that the line that went across the river?
Yes.
That was estimated at 15 million.
Is that what it was? It was expensive.
Oh, yes.
When we start doing the diversions, you said the idea behind that is when we do get rain events, we should have enough flow to be able to test. Only having it partially diverted because we can still treat the dry flow through the original. So if we aren't getting enough rain events to test that, then is there a way to do a full diversion so that we can push everything through it to be able to do the testing?
That would be a better,
Because if we're not getting enough rain, leaving, partial diversion does us no good.
well, I mean, that's why we have a year afterwards for construction monitoring. But you don't pressurize, when you don't test pressurize those.
Right.
That could be fatal. It can cause some catastrophe.
So our dry weather flow is 3 million gallons a day.
Yeah.
In a rain event, we'll get up to 26 million gallons a day. So even if we diverted all the dry weather flow, it still wouldn't be a good test.
Right,
You
okay,
aren't, you can't get enough water without a rain event.
gotcha, okay,
But they,
makes sense.
your testing procedure on that, I know it was in the contract and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
I
so
wasn't sure if there was
with
a
this-
minimum
with this
flow
style
rate
of
to be
pipe,
able to do just testing.
it's best
or
practice
has
to do an
be-
individual joint test as you install the pipe. In lieu of an actual pressurized test, 'cause trying to do even a 5 PSI air pressure on a 120-inch diameter line, you're creating a pneumatic bomb. So we,
The volume
Yeah,
is
that'd
crazy.
That
so
would
we,
be a
we have
catastrophe.
a completely different testing method that just does a bladder inflation inside the pipe around either side of that joint. And we're able to test after each joint.
Okay,
And it's a inflated bladder. We pump up in between those bladders to a 5 PSI test. You hold it for approximately 60 seconds, test joint good, deflate, and you can move on to the next one.
Are those all HDP pipe joints as well?
No,
Or
these
those-
are, the majority of the interceptor pipe is a manufactured product out of Texas called Hobos pipe.
Yeah. Fiberglass.
Fiberglass centrifugal spun, CFFP, yeah.
Okay.
Centrifugally spun fiberglass pipe.
Okay.
Definitely more durable than the HDP.
It's interesting stuff. We've done some testing.
It is incredibly durable.
And I hope it's long lasting.
So
Maybe we don't want to bomb in the middle.
as we start to divert these, we may have discussed this already, but as we start to divert these and we do the tests as we're going through this, if we find that we can trim the ends off and still meet the requirements for the combined sewage overflow, what does that look like for the contract?
Well-
Would we be able to trim those off? And-
We feel like that's not a possibility.
You
I
don't?
think the only
Okay.
trim is CSO 11,
Okay,
just simply because of all the I&I we have on the south side.
no possibility you see.
I don't, as far as Jamin,
The trimming that could be done would be to reduce pipe size, and we'll already have that stuff installed by the time we figure out everything's too big.
right,
Okay.
right. So as far as the north side, there's really no,
You don't feel like they're,
it'd be a guess, and we don't want to do that, so.
if we're in it, we might as well do it
I mean,
right.
as far as as far as the pipe size goes, the cost of the difference between, it's a little harder to see, and I'm sorry. So 120 inches, so 10 foot, 10 foot, 10 foot. Then we drop down here, then we drop down to 18 inch, down to 02. So the cost difference between probably 96, 84 to maybe 60 inch pipe is probably minimal, because it's my guess, now you'd have to answer, the installation cost is significant. It's going to be about the same, so.
Yeah, we obviously have a higher production on an 18-inch diameter. And this 18-inch between CSO 2 and 3 is significantly shallower than your 120 diameter that's your main trunk line.
Yeah.
But all that other stuff is 20, 25 feet deep.
Correct.
The cost is in the depth, not the height.
Right.
The pipe material pales in comparison for the install time, the granular backfill, and the hauling cost to be able to move material around as we dig a 25-foot deep hole.
This is the condensed version. It's not the scale. But I thought it's a great version he gave us. It gives us the pipe size and some of the smaller detail here.
None of the dirt that's excavated out can go back in, correct? Or will be used to fill.
In some instances, but this is, again, below grade road. We don't want to use subpar structural fill. If we can do a test, we get into a layer of B-barrel, we can always pull a proctor, do a material reuse. But based on the current borings, it's hit or miss on what could be reused. And if we're under road conditions, we don't want to have a massive sinkhole.
And
But
Paul-
we've done it with great success on other jobs on material reuse when we come across it though.
And Paul, you guys use the Hobos reinforced fiberglass in other projects as well?
Yes, I had a team myself lay about 8 miles of it in Greenwood, Indiana.
Okay.
We've got another 2 miles in Lafayette. I just wrapped up, as a matter of fact.
And we're gonna be able to get the material on time, right?
The pipe materials and the precast manhole structures are less of an impact. It's the timing for the chem treatment and the overflow system right here. But the great news is you don't need that out at the start. We have plenty of time to procure as we get the deep underground front end installed, and then we can actually install our treatment system as our underground is still progressing. I think one of the longest lead items is we're doing a prefabricated chem building, and even that should only take about 9 months.
And this is kind of a little bit off, but and part of the cost savings to have this type of contract is with that chem building, it went through quite a few iterations. So originally the engineer said, well, it has to be 2 stories. We're gonna have this big old tank, and Bowen was like, well, hold on, there's got to be a better way. first of all, safety wise, we don't want a huge tank where the guy's got to get on ladders or on scaffolding or something. And we can reduce the cost by reducing the height of the building. And at this point, I believe it is somewhat a single story with two smaller tanks, which is way safer for us and our employees too. So it came out more cost effective and better for us. So again, that's the value of this contract and working with Bowen. They've been great with us so far. Any other random questions? Now's the time. Throw it out there.
Thank you all very much.
Where this, if I'm reading this right, the 120 inches for the pipe, where this next down, where we see 20, 36, 24, 24, and 24 before we tie back into the 120. What's the purpose of the neck down pipe between those two sections?
Right here.
Is that right? To the left. Yep, right here.
So these 24s, these boxes are your upstream diversion structures
Okay.
that are going to be diverting flow from that tie-in, because you still have
Okay.
to keep this active to the CSO.
But that is 120 inch all the way through on the
Yes,
main line.
120
Okay,
main.
sorry.
The 24 is replacement.
Yes, okay,
And then these diversions tie back into the new structure.
okay, thank you.
Good question.
Okay, now.
No further questions then? All right. So the next meeting, come back in as old business, and we'll ask you to accept the contract as written. Like I said, there might be a few small changes. I think we still got to get with Dustin on this, and he's got to go over it and make sure it's correct. So,
On the, I know we still have to vote on this, but on the bond issuance is coming up next. We're voting to approve those, right? This was just
That's
to
correct.
review that, okay.
I guess we need a motion to approve that two,
We've
No, we
got
gotta
that,
vote.
so we just need to vote. Well, or no, we don't vote on
We don't
this,
vote
so,
on this.
so yeah, we
yeah.
Next meeting.
do just go straight.
Okay. So the water utility revenue bond attachment 6B, is that what we're gonna do now?
Yep, and I'll make a motion to approve attachment 6B.
So thank you. Second,
Yes.
thank you. Discussion? Nobody wants to talk about it? Okay. All those in favor? Thank you, unanimous. Moving on to C, approve the 2026 sewage works revenue bonds attachment 6C.
I'll
I'll
make
make
it,
a motion to 6C attachment.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Discussion.
again, both of these were for the Baker Tilly to do the debt issuance, perform the debt issuance, and all the arbitrage for both the sewage and the water liens. Excuse me, liens, not the right word. Bond issuances. Thank you.
What?
All the financial stuff.
That's the
Okay,
$20,000 difference between water and sewage?
Correct. Sewage was a much bigger fish.
But once they start to do the work on this, then we'll find out within a week on where we'll be with those interest rates and the rate support.
And they've already been working behind the scenes.
Sure.
That they have to provide so much information. They don't leave Michelle alone. Hey, I need this. I need this. I need how many gallons this water customer has. I think that was today's emails. So they really go through our records and make sure that they can vouch for our revenue and what we can bond out.
so that takes care of the discussion for C.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. City administration update, Mr. Fisher?
Long-term,
We have,
We
I
have,
think we need to
we
vote.
gotta vote on 6C.
we gotta vote on that anyway. Let's see.
We're gonna vote on C.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Vote. All those in favor, and it is unanimous. Okay. there.
And we replaced the long-term update with Bowen having his discussion, so we don't have that again. So we'll-
Okay, I don't think I see it in there, but that's okay. Yeah, thank you. Now, Mr. Fisher?
I do not have anything more than what I reported on before, so nothing to report.
Nothing new. Okay, got it. City attorney?
I will, Josh has gotten me the guaranteed savings contract. I started on that, but I have not gotten all the way through reviewing that, so I will be continuing to do that and hopefully have it by the end of next week, because I will be out the following.
So just give it to him, or you'll present it at the
I'll be out the next board meeting.
board meeting? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're gonna give it to him?
We'll collectively go through it and make sure that it's what we need.
Okay, thank you. Oh, manager's report.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna brag a little bit.
All right.
Not about me, obviously.
Speak up.
It was a pretty rough weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, into last night even, for everyone here. We had 230 hours of overtime at the electric department over the weekend. That's collectively, that's everyone that came in. And we had multiple guys time out multiple times. So we give, they're 16 on, we have in our contract that we give them 8 hours off after that, 16 on in a 24-hour period. So you got to really kind of pay attention 6 hours later when they get called in and they've already been on 12 hours. So they had a pretty rough weekend. And not only, especially when the power goes out, the wind's blowing and it's raining and then the wind's blowing. Even on the waterways, Division of Water Management, every time one of the power even flickers, they've got to have guys in here to make sure that all the lift stations and the booster stations and the equipment, the VFDs are really, really sensitive to fluctuations in energy power. And so they have to go in and make sure they're reset or they're working or they're not working. So every time that happens, even our Division of Water Management are in here. And sometimes here all night, just they station them in all night just to make sure that they're already here and we don't have to wait, not knowing whether it's going to storm or snow. I mean, who knows right now? All 4 seasons in 2 days, it seems like. So the guys, they had a significant amount of overtime. They're tired. I mean, Division Road alone, that whole circuit west of town was out 3 times. Twice in one day, and then again a day later, and 3 separate tree incidents. Right next to the pole they already replaced from a large tree, another tree came down, and then 2 days later another tree came down. And those, I mean, and the customers there were extremely patient, but there's nothing we can do. I mean, we spend, we had multiple poles that were broken just from the wind. We had phases, and that when the wind's going 60 mile an hour, sometimes those phases will slap together because the poles are bowing, and so there's not as much tension on the phases, and they'll slap together, and they'll cause an outage. We had one. I believe it was it Sunday, the second round through, where up by the fire station. They slapped together in the neutral, and then the neutral it burned up, and then it fell on the neutral, and then took the whole circuit out all the way down the west of town. So they were busy and tired, and all of them were, and I can't ask for a better group of guys and girls. They work their tails off, and they're a little groggy today and yesterday. But again, we're out last night at 3 o'clock in the morning because we had a to icing on the cake. We had a mouse get into one of our breakers in the substation.
Mouse.
And now it burned up the breaker, and now there's carbon all over those huge breakers in the substation. So I believe it's sub 4. Sub 4 is actually out right now. We have sub 5, and we're backfeeding the prison,
AZI and Spectron RX. And we're actually backfeeding from REMC for some of the smaller meters just on the base area, not in the industrial side. But you can't just put something like that in, because you energize it under full load, a bus bar that has carbon all over it, it's going to explode. So they got to go in. Somebody's going to come in tomorrow. We have a contractor coming in tomorrow. They've got to clean it, and we have an extra breaker. If that breaker is fried completely, we have another breaker, a spare breaker that we keep. We're going to throw that in there and try to get everybody going there. So they've just had a horrible time.
So you can't just flip the breaker back on?
Can't just nope. If you want to see it burn, you better be outside of that building.
It's a bad idea.
So yeah, it's just been one of those weekends, and all the departments have performed amazingly.
Josh, did that affect like out Business 31?
Yeah, it'll come all the way back down Business. That circuit comes all the way back down Business
Yes.
31. Yeah, that was like at 3:30. I think everybody got back in between 4 and 6 this morning, I think. But those poor guys that were on call, they felt they finally got an evening. No wind tonight, and then both of them had to come back out at like 3:34 in the morning, and our engineer had to go out at 3:34 in the morning and try to work on that problem. So, and just as a general information type thing, we spend almost $400,000 a year in tree trimming. When we go down each circuit, and we kind of have like a 4 or 5 year. I think we have 300 lineal miles of line that we have to tree trim. And so when you see trees come down like they have, especially like on Division Road, those trees that are 70, 80 feet tall, 50 feet tall, those trees are 30 feet away that we don't trim, that we can't trim. They're on private property. They're not in our right of way. And when they fall, there's nothing we can do trim wise to do that. That's not our property. Now, in our right of way, we can trim all we want to. And we do that, and we do it aggressively, sometimes to the anger of homeowners and landowners. You messed up my tree. Well, it's going to cause an outage. But there's times where those trees, those trees, right? How many fell? And there were a couple that fell right in town here. And like we don't own those, and the city doesn't necessarily trim those because they're in a private customer's tree lawn or yard. Like we have outages that the tree will fall in the middle of a neighbor's backyard in town, and it goes in and it takes the feed line, the drop line to another homeowner. And they're like, well, that's not my fault. I can't pay to have an electrician come do this. And well, that's an insurance thing. That's not our fault. And it's the insurance. It's an act of God. So it's those things are tough, but there are trees that we just can't trim. We could have $10 million in a tree trimming budget, and if we don't own the tree or we don't have access to that 70-foot tree, we'd have to clear 100 feet on both sides. In theory, to never have a tree outage. So, and even then, we probably get one or two because we've had them blow out of properties on the power line. So, we do that. We commit those resources every year, and if we need to increase if we're seeing certain areas, we'll increase the budget in that area too. Paul Pike, oh my gosh. There's all sorts of trees down that road. And we spend a lot of money there. So we do actually use that money to trim trees and try to keep it clear of our lines. But again, our guys and girls, they perform well under a lot of pressure. And then I know on the electric side, they had an after-action meeting this morning, had a near-miss meeting this afternoon. So they talk about what we can do better, how we can get things back in service faster, how we can be safer, which is always an issue on the water, wastewater, and electric side. So kudos to them. I can't say enough how blessed the community is to have those guys and girls. So. That's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Anybody else have anything to say? Then I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much.